I saw this interesting video from a YouTuber named Melanin Mish talking about her experience at a black hair salon in the Selfridges store in London. And it was a great video, and her experience was so relatable. It was crazy. As I was watching the video, I just couldn't help but take notes of the various topics about natural hair and taking care of natural hair that came up. And just to preface this video, my experiences at black hair salons are mostly based in Europe, like the UK, and I've also had a few experiences in France too. And this is mostly centered around type 4 hair. This isn't a reflection on UK hairdressers who specialize in natural hair as a whole, nor the European ones in general, because I know that there are some great hairdressers who know how to take care of natural hair and also style natural hair, and I am not talking about them. I'm just talking about the problematic ones. So one of the first points that came to mind when I watched the video, the hairstylist's inability to detangle the natural hair. From the video, you can tell that the hairstylist struggled. And I think from what I can remember, their hairstylist started detangling on dry hair and then used an incorrect comb, if I remember correctly, which are both big no-nos when taking care of natural hair, especially detangling. I genuinely believe that if you don't do the detangling step right, and you don't take the time to detangle the strands, you have not laid the proper foundation for your natural hair to properly cooperate with you for your desired bow. Be it a twist out, wash and go, or a silk press, poor detangling is going to lead to poor results. That also leads me to another point. A lot of hairdressers, especially some of the ones that I've gone to, do not know how to properly wash and deep condition natural hair. Now, how much washing and deep conditioning a client needs is subjective, depending on how much buildup the client has, the overall health of their hair. The different type of deep conditioners require different amounts of time on the actual hair, their hair porosity, and so on. So there's quite a few factors. But when I was little, and I used to go to these hair salons that were mostly run by older black women, so they used to use the traditional ways of taking care of natural hair. I remember them giving me a good cleanse of my scalp. They didn't just do the massage my scalp thing, which is what I've come across more of these days, but they actually got into the scalp and rubbed it to the point that it wasn't painful, but I could physically feel that my scalp was clean and all the debris and the buildup had gone. Similar to what I said about detangling, it also applies to washing and deep conditioning. Those two steps are so important. And when they're not done properly and correctly, the excess buildup that should have been removed can ruin your hairstyle completely. I mean, think about having a really nice hairstyle and then you just see a bunch of flakes from the buildup that should have been removed. Like, that just doesn't look nice, and it doesn't even feel nice because your hair, your scalp is literally going to be on fire sooner or later. Melanin Mish also brought up a very important aspect of the black hair salon experience in the video, which was the feeling of being an inconvenience even when you're spending your hard-earned money. She began to feel like this when she stuck up for herself and basically suggested that the hairdresser try to wet the hair a little bit to detangle the hair. Anyone who has tried to speak up at the hairstylist, the hair salon, knows how nerve-wracking that can be and intimidating, because you don't want to sound like you're undermining their skills, but you also don't want your hair to be messed up, especially after paying for it. And there are times when you do speak up for yourself and state that they may need to use a different tool or a different method for your specific hair type. And sometimes the hairdressers, the hairstylists, however you refer them as, some of them do get offended and insulted a little bit. That reaction deters women from actually speaking up, which is a horrible way of dealing with things. Why do some make you feel like you're a burden when they're doing your natural hair, especially if you have type 4 hair? I personally have had great services from some hairdressers, and they made sure to ask me how I felt about how they handled my hair at every step of the way. And when they didn't ask at every step of the way, the environment was inviting and comforting enough for me to feel comfortable in expressing my discomfort without feeling like I had to be prompted to do so. This doesn't negate the fact that people still need to learn how to stick up for themselves, especially in uncomfortable situations, because we can't complain about these hairstylists, but they are also humans as well, and they can't read their clients' minds. So you can't always blame them for thinking that everything is fine and that you are fine when you don't say a word whilst you are sat on that chair. An easy and not so easy way of learning how to stick up for yourself, especially in environments like this, because I know people do struggle with sticking up for themselves for various reasons. What I can advise or suggest is to start getting comfortable with saying no. Start getting comfortable with disagreeing with people and get comfortable with having those awkward moments or awkward silences after you disagreed, rather than try to quickly change your mind to appease them, which is what often happens, especially with women. Another way in which black hair salons can make women feel like they are being an inconvenience is by the way that they talk about the client's hair. They'll say things like, your hair is too much, your roots are too thick, subtly implying that there is something wrong with the client's hair, even if the words themselves don't seem harmful. And when this hairstylist has already got that type of mindset, it will highly likely be projected onto your hair as well, and how they handle your hair. If you can't handle, or if a hairstylist cannot handle type 4 hair, why take on a type 4 hair client? If you can't do it, just say that, so then the client can go and find somewhere else to go. It saves you time and also saves the client time as well. But sadly, that is the truth with a lot of hairstylists, especially in black hair salons. They seem to be a lot more familiar with looser textured hair. They tend to work with a lot more silkier, straighter hair types, because I know that installing hair and installing lace frontals is quite big right now. So compared to coily textured hair, which isn't a bad thing, to be honest. Like, if that's what you specialize in, if you specialize in installs, that is completely fine. But for those who advertise themselves as natural hair specialists to your potential customers, they can interpret that as the hairstylist can do all types of natural hair. But clearly, that isn't the case for some. And have you noticed that a lot of black hairstylists don't wear their natural hair in its natural state a lot of the times, or at least have their natural hair out in whatever state it is? In the UK, from what I've seen, is that a lot of them tend to wear wigs, which in reality, it doesn't really have any bearing on their actual professional skills to an extent. But I do wonder if there is a correlation. I saw some people mention it in the comment section under the video, and it got me thinking, what do you all think? Recently though, I have found a way to figure out if a self-proclaimed natural hair specialist is actually living up to the title, and it's through browsing on their business Instagram page or whatever platform they use to advertise their services with images of their work. So if I see a natural hair specialist Instagram and they intrigue me, their page intrigues me, and I scroll through their posts and I don't see them post any clients with type 4 hair, and they just post people who have looser textured hair, then I will be side-eyeing the hairstylist. Unless they've made it clear, explicit, that they only work with certain hair types, then I will still be side-eyeing you. The way I see it is, If you do service clients with type 4 hair, why would you not want to showcase the end result on your platform? Are you not proud of your work? Don't you want more clients with a similar hair texture to come to you and pay you for your services? I just find it a little bit strange. A common practice that I see a lot of hairstylists do in black hair salons, especially when handling type 4 hair. But to be fair, this can be extended to natural hair in general, so this can include type 3 hair as well, is how heavy-handed some are with the tools or even how they touch the hair with their bare hands. Being heavy-handed is a sure, quick way of increasing breakage and doing all sorts of damage to your scalp and your hair. In the video, one thing that the hairstylist did was talk about split ends and how the creator had to get their ends cut, which obviously is fine. But I did find it a bit hypocritical because they were talking about split ends. Meanwhile, they were contributing to more split ends, which is peak cognitive dissonance. Being heavy-handed with a straightener can give you scalp burns. Pulling your hair back so tight can literally make you lose the hairs on your hairline. So I suggest that always tell whoever is styling your hair, even tell yourself as well, to be gentle, and when something hurts, make it known that it hurts, so then the person doesn't do it again. Another thing that one of the hairstylists said in the video was that, or suggested to Melanin Mish, is that the next time she should come with her hair prepared for the next appointment or something along those lines. And I was just thinking, seriously, what's the point of doing half of the work when you are paying 100% of the price? If the hairdresser wanted her to do half of the work, she should have charged her for only 50% of the price. It's ridiculous because I 100% expect to just walk into my appointment with my hair in whatever state it is, and the hairstylist can just take it from there, unless they have highlighted that the hair needs to be prepped before the appointment. And this is also another issue that I have that keeps popping up, especially when booking with Instagram hairstylists. They require you, some, not all, some require you to do a lot of work, a lot of prep work on your hair before the appointment, which basically means that you could have all done it yourself rather than paying someone else to do it if they can't even do majority of the work. At the end of the video, one of the conclusions that I came up with alongside all the points that I took from the video was that I'm not surprised that Black women are slowly going back to getting relaxers in their hair, wearing wigs more than ever. This isn't to take away from holding them accountable, but a big part of taking care of your natural hair is learning from other people doing your natural hair. For instance, your parents, your aunties, your grandmothers, and so on. And that includes black hair salons or black hairstylists. If the people of your own community can't even do your hair, or can't even do their own hair, or even have the patience to do your hair, who else will except yourself? What experiences have you had with black hair salons? Did these similar events happen to you too? Let me know in the comment section and I'll see you in the next one.